I think you're going to like this one. Hope you can stick around.
All the evangelists who kept saying to me in my videos, I think you'll find I charge at home overnight while I'm sleeping on Octopus energy.
I'm going to look at the detail of this video to find out if EV charging is going to cost more than the petrol and diesel car as claimed by the McMaster. Please tell me what you think and leave a message below.
Yep, you do. And it costs me hardly anything to charge. Well, from January 2026, right, you're going to be restricted to charging just 6 hours. So they're going to restrict the time that you can charge your car at home.
Hello, I'm Nigel. Hope you don't go anywhere except to pause and make a cup of tea, make yourself comfortable. I do hope you can subscribe, especially if you hate EVs, or even more if you love them. Petrol heads are very, very welcome. I drove a petrol diesel cars for 50 years, so I think I'm one of them. And I've only been driving an EV for 4 years. Also, a like is much appreciated if you did.
And wait for this. It means your costs are going to double for charging at home. Now you can say, I think you'll find it's still cheaper than having an equivalent petrol or diesel car. Well, I think you'll find, and mark my words again, because I'm right. In fact, the only time I was wrong is when I thought I was wrong, but I wasn't. Thank you very much. It's going to go up even more.
Okay, well, I'm on Octopus Go, and I currently charge on the cheap nighttime rate at 8.5p kilowatt hour from 12:30 to 5:30. That's 5 hours, and nothing is changing next year for the majority of EV drivers charging at home at night with Octopus energy. Now, some YouTubers are reading out stories from newspapers and the internet as if they are facts without any scrutiny, and this YouTuber is saying there will be no more cheap nighttime charging from January, but it's just not true, and he's misleading you.
Oh, blimey, that's bright. Oh, what a great day it is. So I'm going to read you this little story for you. I'm going to find somewhere to pull over and you can say, well, you've got an electric car. Yep, I've got an electric car, but I've got an electric car so I can bring you the true reality of owning an electric car. And plus, once you're in an electric car, it's very difficult to get out of one.
It's fine if you own a £100,000 plus Porsche Taycan, so it's not your typical EV driver earning hundreds of thousands a year from YouTube and unable to give you the true reality of owning one, as he knows negative EV stories get 10 times the views as positive ones. So he knows what he's doing. He's owned his Porsche for years, but tells you not to buy an EV whenever he can on his YouTube videos.
However, on top of the 3p per mile that they're going to introduce to EV owners from 2028, your electric prices are going to go up as well. So it's actually going to cost you way more to own an electric car than it is to own a petrol or diesel.
So I'm going to look at the detail, something he does not do, comparing EV charging at home and Tesla superchargers to petrol and diesel.
It makes you think, doesn't it? Maybe the government didn't want you to have electric cars after all. A little bit like when they said diesels, etc. So there we go, smug face.
Blaming the government is a guaranteed way of getting lots of viewers on YouTube. And not doing your own research, being lazy, means the government can be blamed for your own mistakes. Dieselgate we'll go into in a minute.
Share it on social media and just put in the comment section, right? Just put in the comment section, smug face, EV drivers are cockwombles, right? Pop that in the comment section. Smug face, EV drivers are cockwombles. That includes me, by the way, because I'm driving an electric car. Right, without further ado, my friends, let's go.
Yes, I am sharing this on social media here. I'm not deleting anything he says, so I can't be accused of editing for my own reason. So you see everything he says. My only deletion is when he's silent or him requesting you to subscribe. I hope you can do for me. It would be very much appreciated.
What were you thinking? What were you actually thinking? Please tell me. EV drivers, please tell me. What were you thinking? You were thinking that the government were just going to allow you to drive around and not pay tax from home and charge at home and then not pay any taxes on it. Did you not see that this pay per mile was coming? And they also say now, well, it's only 3p.
Well, here goes. I was thinking that EVs are very quiet and very clean, not just for the driver, but for the environment. Cheap to run, service and repair, and no poison coming out of the exhaust pipe, killing people every year. That's what I was thinking. Governments have been talking about pay per mile for decades, if you have been paying attention.
Listen, I can tell you that when it comes in, right, it won't be 3p because you've got the rate of inflation. So by the time 2028 comes, it won't be 3p. And 10 years down the line, you'll be paying, and mark my words, listen to this, right, and remember the day that I told you this, it will be £1 per mile. You will be paying £1 a mile to drive your electric car, right? So I don't know what you were thinking.
So here's the thing. He claims £1 a mile, mark my words, and he knows if you add 3p a mile in 2 years' time to the current 2p a mile it costs of charging an EV at home, it's still only going to be 5p a mile compared to the 17p a mile for a petrol car or 15p a mile for a diesel. Which means owning an EV per mile is currently 1/12 the cost per mile of a petrol car. And in 2 years' time, with the 3p increase, if petrol has not increased then, an EV will still be less than 1/3 the cost of petrol. That's why.
And really, you should be ashamed of yourselves, because when you bought an electric car, and I'm in the same boat as you, right? Although I'm not an evangelist, because I'm the one that's gone on about trying to get people not to have electric cars unless they're driving around locally.
So he's now suggesting an EV is really only any good if you drive it locally and you don't go very far. Well, he drives his all over the place. Look, I've driven from Cornwall to Scotland many times and back, northern Spain down to Portugal. Richard at R. Simmons, they sell second-hand EVs down in Dorset, recently drove only last month to all 4 points of the UK, the most southerly, east, west and north, and the weather was horrible, and he never had any range anxiety and the charging never took very long. So it's absolute nonsense to say an EV is only any good for local driving.
Right. You've actually made it bad for everybody else, because that 3p per mile, the pay per mile charge, will now eventually roll on to petrol and diesel cars. So you've given the government an excuse to charge per mile. It's your fault.
For decades, governments have wanted to introduce pay per mile. And I can remember it being talked about in the 80s when I've only been driving for 10 years. But none have ever taken the plunge. And when they do, my EV will still be much cheaper to drive than a petrol or diesel car, and much more enjoyable to drive as well. People like him and the industries most affected by electrification continue to put out misinformation about owning an EV, claiming petrol is cheaper, but it's not even close. And for years, motoring journalists have been going to the most expensive public chargers they can and claiming petrol is cheaper. But whenever you analyse their claims, they're all false. Claims that petrol and diesel cars are cheaper to run are gross misinformation and a lie. They are designed to put doubt into the minds of people thinking of buying an EV, and will slow down the transition from petrol to electric vehicles. Great for 10 times the number of views on YouTube.
This is what we had it with Dieselgate. Get a diesel, better for the environment. better for the environment. And then what happens? Oh, it's not better for the environment, and you get punished for it. It's going to be the same with electric cars down the line. Basically, you're going to have commercials on TV, mark my words again, right? Were you missold an electric car between the years X and...
Were you misled about your electric car purchase? EV Lawyers for You can help you claim the compensation you deserve. Call us now.
Dieselgate was when Volkswagen had software that falsified emission results from their vehicles, making it appear the emissions were much lower than they were in reality. The courts ruled against them, costing them billions in payments, and sales plummeted all around the world, and I don't think they've ever recovered, especially in the US. People remember the lies. EVs don't have emissions, but he is predicting EVs will end up in the courts the same as happened to Volkswagen.
That's what's going to happen. And now you've been smug about saying that you're charging at home and it costs you next to nothing, and now you're going to be restricted to what times you can charge, and you've had it limited. I think it's 6 hours. You're going to be restricted to charging 6 hours per night, right, to charge your electric car. This is on Octopus Energy, because they're changing the tariff and the price is increasing. So it's going to cost you double now to charge your car.
He thinks it's 6 hours. Well, I pay on Octopus Go 8.5p a kilowatt hour, and that's available 5 hours a day. That's an hour less than what's going to happen to the intelligent Octopus Go customers. And that's not changing. It's going to be 2p a mile driving. He means intelligent Octopus Go, who charge only 7p a kilowatt hour. I could go on it, but I choose not to. Is available for 6 hours a day, making it much cheaper than my 2p a mile driving.
That's just the start of it, right? It's just the start of it. It's going to increase, and increase. And you're going, I'm all right paying per mile, right? What about the EV drivers who don't charge at home, and the ones that actually charge on public chargers that are paying 70 odd pounds to charge their car, which includes VAT, and on top of that they're charging you pay per mile as well. So you're paying twice. You're paying twice the amount of tax to charge your car.
So £70 for a charge from empty to full would be on a 60 kilowatt battery, £1.20 a kilowatt hour. A kilowatt? And even the most expensive, greedy oil company public chargers don't charge that amount yet. So his numbers and claims just don't survive any kind of scrutiny. Now, a Tesla owner at a supercharger would pay 1/3 that price if they were dumb enough to charge from empty to full. It's something motoring journalists like to do a lot. Now, the Tesla supercharger, I've worked out the numbers. A 60 kilowatt battery at 40p a kilowatt hour is £24 and not £70. And my Tesla at 50 kilowatts would be £20. So he's just making up the numbers.
So it's going to cost you in the long run more than it is to actually run the equivalent petrol or diesel. And
no, it's not. All he's doing is misleading you and not backing up with any numbers or facts. It's just his opinion, which is wrong, I think you will find.
And don't forget, on top of it, the initial cost of an electric car, right? That costs more than an equivalent petrol or diesel, and then the residual values of it. And I can tell you the residual values because I know what I lost on my first Taycan and couldn't get another car unless it was an electric car because I'd lost that much money on it. So I know exactly what electric cars lose. So, but people were fell for it.
So he bought a Porsche Taycan well over £100,000 and it devalued like a falling brick. Not sure why he had to buy another EV, why he couldn't buy a petrol car if they're so bad, but that's probably another story. So new EVs have come down in price a lot recently, especially from China and many from Europe. You don't have to buy a BMW, Mercedes, Audi or Porsche, who are expensive, and many new EVs are the same price as petrol car. There's a new Renault out, that the EV version is the same price. It may even be slightly lower than the petrol version. I'm not sure what car you would compare a Tesla with, maybe a BMW or an Audi, except however you compare them, the Tesla is cleaner and it's quieter, as all EVs are. Something the ICE cars don't want to compare, as they know they will always lose.
And I read the comments now of the EV drivers, the smug evangelists, right? The smug evangelists that were, I think you'll find, they're very quiet now, aren't they? They're not so smug now, aren't they? Are they? They've had that smug smirk wiped off of their face.
I'm a smug evangelist. I'm not quiet, as you are talking rubbish, and I think you know it. You really know you've lost the argument when you resort to calling EV owners smug evangelists, because you don't have any facts or arguments to back up your case. He's from the Ice Age and will soon be extinct.
Even Morag, who I actually respect, I think she speaks a lot of sense, said this 3p per mile is going to stop people buying electric cars because of the way people think. I don't want to have to turn up like a naughty school child to have my mileage read. And also on top of that, if you go abroad to Europe, you're still going to pay for the 3 pence per mile for driving in another country. That's basically daylight robbery. At least Dick Turpin wore a mask.
These are terrible.
I agree also with Morag. The 3p a mile charge in 2 years' time is a mistake and very poor forward planning.
Anyway, I'm going to pull in, read you this story, and then let me have your say in the comment section below. But share this video, please, on social media far and wide, and then we can educate people, right, on what is really going on here.
Yes, I'm sharing this video and telling people you don't have any facts or numbers. It's just your opinion.
Now, you can say you like your electric car, and I've banged on about this on and on. Yeah, I like how it drives. It's great. It's fantastic. Apart from, you know, it would be nice to have that noise and change down. You don't have I don't think you have as much control.
So he wants more noise from a car and thinks noise pollution is a good thing, as well as poisonous CO2 emissions from ICE cars.
But yeah, that's great. As a roundabout car, round town, fantastic. But other than that, no. Why would you do it? It's going to cost more money now in the long run.
He repeats that EVs are only good for driving around town, which we've already debunked. I've driven thousands of miles on road trips, and so have millions of people. They've had a great time in a very clean and quiet car, an EV.
It's going to cost you a fortune. I'll pull over at the services and we'll read this little story out for you. Okay, milk float off. Right, let's get down to business, shall we? So, Octopus Energy ramps up electric car charging costs. So all those people there, I think you'll find them on Octopus Energy. Utility giant plans to restrict its discounted EV tariff to 6 hours a day from January. And then it goes on to say here, Britain's biggest energy provider is raising the cost of charging electric cars in a fresh blow to electric car drivers. Octopus Energy said it will restrict its cut price electric vehicle EV tariff from the new year in a move that could cost some drivers hundreds of pounds annually.
So he's saying it could cost hundreds of pounds annually. This is a quote from the journalist, not from Octopus. A lot of the quotes merge into one. You don't know if it's coming from Octopus or the journalist, and a lot of them are coming from the journalist. Now, EV owners are saving thousands of pounds annually, and they could move, if they wanted, from Intelligent Octopus Go to Octopus Go. It's slightly dearer. I'm on it and I save a packet. and if they think they'd be better off, they can move. There's nothing stopping them.
Rising household electricity prices as EV owners face new taxes that have put the government's net zero targets under pressure. Octopus's intelligent Go tariff is Britain's most popular EV plan, used by 260,000 drivers, or more than 1 in 10 EV owners. It allows motorists to enjoy cheap household energy when their car is charging, significantly cutting the cost of running an electric vehicle. However, the company has written to customers telling them that discounted charging will be limited to 6 hours a day from January. Limiting use of cheap charging rates is likely to drive up energy bills, since motorists will pay peak rates roughly 4 times higher when they wish to charge their car for longer periods.
The daytime rate for electricity is 4 times higher than nighttime. That is true. I pay 8.5p kilowatt hour, available 5 hours every night. But Intelligent Octopus Go is 7p a kilowatt hour, available for 6 hours every night.
Wow, okay, that's going to cost them a lot of money. It makes Octopus, which has almost 8 million customers, the latest energy supplier to raise the cost of charging at home after rival supplier of OVO doubled EV charging prices earlier this year. Doubled them. The changes have led, I'm trying not to laugh, the changes have led to backlash from customers, with one user on social media branding them a complete mess and saying people would move to other suppliers. What's the advantage of staying with Octopus now, another wrote. I can tell you, they're all the same. Wherever you go, it's going to cost you more. Energy companies have raced to attract EV drivers with specialised tariffs that offer cheap charging during off-peak periods. Same here, I just signed up for a Eon overnight charging for 6 point something pence, and it's going up.
He signed up for 6 point something pence and it's going up, but he has no details. I pay 8.5p a kilowatt hour, and that equals 2p a mile driving, so he's paying a lot less, 1.5p a mile, but he won't tell you that, as it doesn't fit his narrative. And his narrative is that EVs are bad, but bad EV videos are really good for huge viewing numbers. If you look at his numbers, he does lots of things on fish and chips and Benidorm, but the biggest views by far are the negative ones he does on EV drivers.
So there we go. The tariffs have made running electric cars significantly cheaper than petrol. Not anymore.
He's reading a news item without any facts or information, just EV charging is going up.
And served as a key selling point to encourage sales of expensive plug-in vehicles, since public charging costs several times more. It does. If I charge this car at home, it'll cost me roughly about £7 to get a full charge, which will now give me about 460 miles in this, 430 miles.
He lets it slip and says when he charges at home, it costs £7 for 430 miles, which is 1.6p a mile.
This weather, if I charge on a regular charger, more near £100.
He talks about a regular charger, meaning a public charger, and it will be nearer £100. Well, a Tesla supercharger, based on his numbers, would cost between 40 and 45, not £100, which would be the most expensive public charger you can find.
Octopus's changes could more than double the cost of fully charging cars with large batteries, which take more than 10 hours to charge from empty to full. The cost of refuelling some versions of Tesla Model Ys, Britain's most popular electric car, from 5pc to 100pc would rise from around £5.50 to more than, wow, that's more than double.
Could is a very popular phrase in news items without any facts. And he's reading the opinions of a news journalist as if it was a fact, but it's just speculating on what the outcome might be.
So to recharge your car then at home, it'll cost you £5.50, now going to cost you £13. And I know you're going to say that's still cheaper than actually using petrol or diesel. For now, it's going to increase even more.
It's not true. Octopus rates are not going up. Octopus tariffs remain the same. And mine's been the same for the last year.
A series of recent changes have made driving an EV more expensive, even as sales continue to sit below government targets. This year, electric car owners lost a road tax exemption. Yep, got to pay your road tax this year as well. And also, by the way, I haven't put it in here, you've also now got to pay congestion charge in London. So they're taking everything away from you. You see, road tax, free road tax, there you go, take that away. Congestion charge, you don't have to pay it, take that away. Cheaper charging, take that away. Then add the 3p per mile, you know it's coming.
Well, the thing is, not everyone drives in London. Before I had my Tesla Model 3, I had an MG-TF. It was built in Oxford, one of the very last MGs to be built. I paid £250 tax a year. I sold it, bought an Audi A3. It had a stop-start engine, so the engine cut out when the car stopped at any junction or traffic lights. And the tax for that, because it was the CO2 emissions were less than the MG, was only £30 a year. I'm really not surprised as an EV owner that I'm now going to pay road tax. Our numbers are growing. But we're still paying a lot less than the ICE cars are paying.
In last month's budget, Miss Reeves said that EV drivers would have to pay 3p a mile from 2028. It won't be that, it'll be more, adding an average of £255 to the cost of driving each year. Campaigners have said the tax threatens to curb rising EV sales, while the Office for Budget Responsibility has said the policy will cut sales by 440,000 over the next 5 years. Octopus told customers that 4 in 5 charging sessions on the tariff always take fewer than 6 hours. No, it doesn't. Mine always takes longer than 6 hours. And that it hoped the changes encourage them to charge daily in smaller bursts, allowing it more easily to manage demand. The company has said that some customers are using technical workarounds to slow down charging speeds and enjoy hours of cheap electricity. Let me get that again. The company has also said that some customers are using technical workarounds to slow down charging speeds and enjoy hours of cheap electricity.
Intelligent Octopus Go allow customers to charge their EV, home and battery for 6 hours off-peak, and nothing has changed. It's still 6 hours. Some customers were working technical workarounds to slow the charger down and hack the system, allowing them to charge much more than the 6 hours. Octopus needed to correct the system as it was being abused by the minority who were hacking the system, but the majority of people were not using the hack.
Since a whole household benefits from lower rates while the car is being charged. Drivers who regularly cover hundreds of miles and so need to charge for long distances face being hit by the change. A full charge every 2 weeks could cost drivers hundreds of extra pounds a year. And an Octopus spokesman said the changes make sure the tariff continues to offer great value for everyone and were not linked to wider energy market conditions nor an attempt to move drivers over to other tariffs. Ofgem recently announced that energy prices would rise in January despite forecasts that bills would fall. They lie, don't they? They lie. They're scum. So there we go. It's going to cost you more now if you have an electric car to charge your car at home. I think you'll find I'm on Octopus Energy.
It's not going to cost more unless you believe the opinion of the journalist writing the item, and he's got to write a piece that the editor and the owner of the paper like, and in many cases it's anti-EV news.
I have to say, by the way, I met the owner of Octopus Energy a few years ago, interviewed him for something to do with the Nottingham Post or Birmingham Post. Lovely guy, great business head on him. I went to see him in London, so I don't think the guy's actually trying to rip anybody off. He's actually having to follow suit of what the government are putting in place and what the, you know, the big wigs are putting in place. So there we go. So
Is now saying, a minute after reading the explanation, that Octopus are only following suit of what the government bigwigs are putting in place.
some customers are using technical workarounds to slow down charging speeds and enjoy hours of cheap electricity.
So in conclusion, he presents no facts or information, reading out a news item which has few facts, implying home charging for EVs is going up, but it's not.
There it is. It's actually going to cost you a heck of a lot more money to charge your car at home if you've got electric. Educate everybody else that basically electric cars are not cheaper to run and they're going to be a lot more money in the long run.
Please leave your comments down below. Subscribing would be fantastic. Subscribing would be fantastic. It's free. And a like would also be appreciated. If you're thinking of buying a Tesla, you can use my referral link. There are discounts available. Thanks for getting this far, much longer than my usual one. So hope you take care, drive safely. Bye until next time. Cheers.